Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of the Averill family of Chipping Norton to Ipswich and Beyond, Lives Recast. Just to recap from the last episode, we looked at the dynamics between the three brothers, John, Thomas, and William. John, after beginning to learn to navigate the law and what that meant for him, sadly disappeared from Essex County. Thomas, after marrying and living on Simon Bradstreet's grant in Topsfield for a few years, chose to move north to Wells, Maine, starting the Averill legacy on what was then the frontier. Though more study will be attempted regarding the brothers' relationships when they lived close to each other, we don't know exactly what those relationships are at the time of this recording. However, one can speculate that William must have felt their absence in some capacity once they were both gone from the area. As stated in the previous video, while still living in Ipswich, William expanded the Averill legacy after his father passed while his mother was still alive. A deed uncovered by me yesterday proves that William continued the same way after his mother died. He sold a parcel of land near what is now the South Green district in Ipswich for £6, a tract most likely granted from the town to his father. This early transaction is proof that the younger Averill was managing inherited property as he prepared to secure his own future. In 1661, William married Hannah Jackson at Ipswich, where their first child, also named William, was born a year later. Although the exact timing and reason for William's move to Topsfield remain uncertain, one detail provides a clear marker. The relocation occurred sometime after January 1st, 1663-64 Old Style. On that date, an Ipswich deed records Samuel Younglove selling his property and identifying William Averill's land as the adjoining boundary, confirming that William was still in Ipswich at that time. The name of the road where William set up his household at Topsfield was then known as Ridge Road, today called Averill Street. He only lived 2 blocks northeast of where John Wilds lived. Interestingly, William moved to Topsfield what is believed to be shortly before the death of John's first wife, Priscilla, and their infant son, Nathan, who both died March and April of 1663, respectively. Later that same year, John married Sarah, joining the two men as not only old friends, but as brothers-in-law. After all, previous to their Topsfield years, John and William lived in Ipswich well before their marriages, with only a half-mile between their two house locations. So they knew each other for 30 years or so, even though there was about an 8-year age difference between the two men. By 1668, the town record books revealed William paid 1 shilling toward the country tax rate, while John Wilds paid 13, a sign of John's somewhat greater means. For the town debt, Wilds again contributed more, paying 1 lira compared with William's 7 shillings. Yet such differences were modest in the context of small colonial economies. Both men lived within the same social tier of hard-working landowners whose prosperity increased and decreased with the accumulation and sales of their real estate, along with earning income performing elected duties for the town and through their own side hustles. Both John and William contributed greatly to their local neighborhood economy. The records of Topsfield show occasions where William and John's life intersected. On March 7, 1664, he, John Wilds, and Edmund Town were appointed by the town to divide timber across the river. Any 2 or 3 of them should see this done. This essential responsibility sustained early colonial infrastructure. By the late 1670s, the Averills and Wilds remained close allies. When John Wilde's son, was killed during King Philip's War, William was appointed by the court as one of the appraisers of Jonathan's estate. It may well have been John Wilde himself who requested William's appointment. Either way, the court named William to the task of appraising and witnessing Jonathan's inventory on June 28, 1676. It was a solemn duty, both an act of service to the community and possibly a gesture of compassion toward a grieving friend and brother-in-law who had lost his son in such a violent conflict. Sometime after this period, a troubling rumor spread through the town, one that tested both the resilience of friendships and fragile peace of the community. At an unknown date, John Wilde confronted John Reddington, his neighbor, threatening to bring a slander suit after hearing that John Reddington's wife, Mary, had accused John's wife, Sarah, of bewitchment. Reddington denied any knowledge of such words from his wife, cautioning that a lawsuit would only waste the family's estate. Seeking clarity and perhaps reconciliation, John turned to William, who then visited Mary Reddington directly. Mary lied to William by stating she had nothing against his sister. Untrue, because later documents tell us these same rumors eventually led to the ears of Sarah's son, Ephraim, resulting in a broken marriage contract in the late 1680s. That John actually filed a lawsuit against the Reddingtons is not clear, but probably unlikely. In March of 1679 and 1680 Old Style, William showed his independence of mind when he cast the sole dissenting vote against the choice of John Howe to give a deed to William Perkins Jr. for a strip of town land. It is one of those brief but telling glimpses of a man willing to stand apart from the majority when conscience or practicality was required. Through the 1680s, their names continued to appear side by side in the town's civic records. In September of 1681, William and John each paid nearly the same amount towards the minister's rate, signaling that by then their economic footing was comparable. And on March 6, 1682-83 Old Style, both men were chosen for an honorable civic role, serving on the committee to lay out 12 acres of land for the new minister, Reverend Joseph Capon. Capon's long tenure would later define a generation of Topsfield's moral and communal life, and since both William and John were skilled carpenters, it is entirely possible that they also helped to construct the Parson Capon house itself. Built in 1683, the house still stands today as one of the finest surviving examples of early New England architecture, a lasting monument to the craftsmanship and civic spirit of men like Averill and Wilde. When William Averill died in 1691, his loss must have been deeply felt by John and Sarah, who had been trusted witnesses to his will. Their long friendship, built on shared labor, faith, and quiet integrity, was suddenly broken. One cannot help but wonder how William's testimony or presence might have helped his sister, Sarah, had he lived just 1 year longer to see the rising storm of 1692. His steady voice of reason, so often sought in times of uncertainty, might have been one more light against the darkness that soon descended on Essex County. Thus, across 2 decades of records, from Ipswich to Topsfield, William Averill's name appears as that of a steady, civic-minded man, a landholder of modest means, an independent thinker, and a loyal neighbor. His daily labors, votes, and responsibilities sketch the outline of a life not driven by ambition, but by a quiet constancy that helped to anchor a young and growing town. Please like and subscribe to my channel and throw some suggestions in the comments regarding ideas for future episodes on the Averills of Chipping Norton. I look forward to the next episode to air October 29th at 1 p.m. Thank you.